Hi, this is Vicki with Crafting for Fun. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this cute little card that resembles a cell phone. I actually have two here. They have slightly different sentiments on them, but other than that they're very similar. I have seen several versions of cards that look like cell phones on the internet and on Pinterest, but I have never yet found one that gave me instructions for how to make it. So I recently saw a post on Pinterest by Becky Jensen, and so I went to her blog, and she had a very similar card to this, and so I set about trying to figure out how she might have made it. So that's actually my inspiration for this card. But the thing that is featured in this card that makes it so fun and funky is these cute little word bubbles with sentiments in them. This is from a stamp set called Just Sayin' by Stampin' Up, and I used the coordinating framelits to cut that out. So let me gather my supplies and I'll show you how I made this card. To make today's card, you'll need the following items. You'll need a base color of cardstock. This is Brilliant Blue by Stampin' Up, and it is 3.5 inches by 11 inches, but you can use whatever color of cardstock you want the color of your phone to be. You'll need a piece of white cardstock that measures 3 1/8 by 5 1/8 inches. And you'll need a piece of black cardstock that is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. You'll need to score your cardstock on the 11-inch side. You'll need to score it at 5 1/2 so that it folds in half to make a base card. In addition to that, you'll need some kind of a corner rounder. I'm using my Crocodile Corner Chomper by We Are Memory Keepers. You'll need a hole punch, and I do believe that this is a 1/16 of an inch hole punch, but I'm not entirely certain about the size, but you'll need a small hole punch. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm going to use a small slot punch. If you have a shape that is similar to this, it would probably work just fine. You'll need some black ink and some adhesive, and then I am going to be using a stamp set and a set of coordinating framelits, but I'll show you another workaround. This is the Just Sayin' stamp set by Stampin' Up, and it has all of these cool, funky sayings like, hey there, love ya, woohoo, miss you already, and then it also has a set of coordinating framelits to cut those images out with, and it's called Word Bubbles Framelit Die Set. So I'm going to be using those. If you don't, and my Big Shot machine, of course. If you don't happen to have something like that, you could type whatever wording you would like for your text out on a computer, and then you could use something like this EK Success Word Bubble Punch to punch out your sentiments. You could also, of course, use something like a Silhouette or Cricut machine to cut out word bubbles. So let me show you how I made this card. I'm going to move my things aside. And I'm going to begin by folding my base cardstock in half to make a card. And this card, when it's folded in half, measures 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to open up my corner rounder, and I'm going to be using the 1/2 inch side. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round all 4 corners. Now I'm going to show you a little cheat that I do. And this is something you might want to try at home. At my local craft store, they sell a little piece of sanding paper. This is just back by where they sell balsa wood stuff. And I just run that along the edges of my cardstock if I have any like loose little ragged pieces. And that just knocks those off just fine. So I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take my white piece and my black piece and do exactly the same thing. I'm going to round the corners, and if I need to, I can go ahead and knock off any rough edges. I'll lay that aside, and my black piece. This is a really, really quick card to put together. And the black and the black I do find tends to get little rough edges, so I like to sand those off. So there we go, all done with my sanding. So now I'm going to clear a little space here, and I'm going to bring out just a scrap of white cardstock, and I'm going to show you I'm just going to show you how I would do one of these speech bubbles. I don't really think that I need to go ahead and do all of them for you, because I think you'll get the idea. So I already have one of my stamps here on a stamp block, and I'm using Memento Black Tuxedo Black ink to get a really true black. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down, and then I would take my framelit here, and I'm going to bring back, I have a little set of pads here. These are just little cutting pads for my Cricut. They're just exactly the same as the big ones. It's just a smaller size. And I would lay that on there. I would put another pad on top of it to sandwich it. I pick that up, and I'm going to bring my machine over here. This is my Big Shot machine. I'm going to lay it down on my Big Shot machine with all of my tabs down, and I'm going to run it through. I'll move this aside. Oops. And you can see that just pops right out there. So it's already nicely cut out. So I have already gone ahead and cut out my other sentiments. I'm just going to lay that aside and bring back all of my pieces here. So I'm going to take that little slot punch, and at the very top there's a little microphone on an iPhone or a cell phone. So I'm going to go ahead and take that and punch it out. And then next to that there's a little circle, and I think it's some kind of a speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and punch that out using my little punch. And so I have something that looks like that, and I'm ready to go ahead and apply that to the front of my card. So I'm just going to put a little adhesive on there. Now I like to make sure that that little speaker or whatever that is at the top, I'm not really familiar with what the parts are, so I just take a piece of black cardstock and cover that up. If I didn't, what would show through would be blue, and that isn't really the look that I was going for in this. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that so that I have about the same amount of border all the way around on my cell phone. And then I'm going to take my black piece here, which is my screen, of course, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that up near the top, but with about the same amount of space on both sides. The trick is to spend enough time to just make sure that that's straight. Now I need my little button at the bottom, and that's what my 1/2 inch hole punch is for. So I'm just going to take a little scrap of the same blue and cut a little circle and apply that at the bottom. And you see how quickly this card goes together. And I'm going to bring back my little sentiments, and you can decide, you can kind of play with them and decide, you know, how you want your speech bubbles to read. But I'm going to say, hey there, and they can extend a little bit off of the screen. And then I'm going to say the response is going to be love ya. I'll put that over here, and then I'm going to put this one here, says miss you already, and I'm going to put that one over here. And now the only thing that I would do in addition to that is on the inside of my card, I cut a piece that measures 3 inches by 5 inches, and since it's a dark colored card base, I would like to put a liner on the inside, and I'm going to go ahead and round the bottom corners. And very often I do not apply my liner until my card is complete and I'm ready to send it. That way if I make a mistake, I have time to go back and fix it. And I did notice there's a little burr on here, so I'm going to knock that off. And then I'm just going to center that inside of my card. There we go. My card's complete. That's a really cute, funky little card, and really, really fun to make and fast to put together. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you have any questions, please email me at craftingforfun@gmail.com, or you can check out my blog, craftingforfun.blogspot.com, for additional craft ideas. Thanks.